Hi there. In the past, I have made a video on capital budgeting techniques, which was under 30 minutes. I've explained all the concepts of capital budgeting techniques, and it was a super successful video. And after that video, many people have approached me requesting me to make a video how to prepare an Excel file for capital budgeting techniques. So this video I'm specifically making to show you how you can make a simple Excel file from scratch for your capital budgeting techniques calculations. And in case you are a new user or new to this particular topic, do not worry because I will explain all the basic concepts first and then I'll show you how to make that particular Excel file. And also as a gratitude for watching my video, I'm going to give you the links to download the files for your use. These links will appear somewhere during the video and that's going to be a treasure hunt for you. So you need to watch the video to the full. Okay, let's get started. As I said, before I explain the calculations in Excel, I would briefly touch upon the important points that you need to know for the calculations. If you already know them, then you can skip to the Excel section of this video. I will give you the timestamps. You can find that in the description below. In capital budgeting world, there are four important terms that you need to know. These terms are called techniques basically. Okay, the four terms that we're going to talk about is, let me just select this. First term is NPV. It stands for net present value. And the second term is IRR, which is internal rate of return. The third term is Profitability Index. I'm just writing it as PI, but P means profitability, I means index. The fourth term is Payback Period. Okay, Payback Period is nothing but the break-even point. Okay, so these are the four techniques that are usually used in capital budgeting. Okay, now I'll explain each of them, okay, one by one. NPV stands for net present value. As I said, it is nothing but it will tell us for a particular investment that we are making in a project, how much profit are we getting back? For example, if you're investing $100,000, right? If you're getting back $120,000 at the end of the project, that means we are getting $20,000 as a profit. So this is the net present value. The $120,000 is what we are going to compute using this particular technique. IRR, internal rate of return. This is nothing but we are going to compute what is the percentage return on the project. Okay, what is the percentage return on the project is what IRR is going to tell us. Profitability index is nothing but for every dollar that we have spent on the project, how many dollars have we gotten back. This is what it's going to just tell us. It's nothing but the ratio of the capital invested with the ratio of the capital received. Okay, so we'll talk about this in detail when we go there. Payback period is nothing but the break-even point. It does not talk about the profits or it does not talk about the losses, but it just talks about at what point in time are we going to get our capital that we have invested in the project. So these are the four terms that we are going to talk in detail. Okay, so let me just move on. Let me just scroll down. Okay, I don't think we have the option to scroll down. Not a problem. So now that you know these four terms, right, there are two more important terms that you need to understand. One is called discounted cash flow. You might have heard this. In other terms, it is also called as opportunity cost. Okay, if you have been taking the examinations, you would get to see these two words. Okay, either one of them. Mostly it is called discounted cash flow, and sometimes it is called opportunity cost. Okay, and some of the people just write it as, you know, cost of capital. Okay, cost of capital, discounted cash flow, or opportunity cost. These are three different terms but they mean one and the same. Okay. And there is another thing that you also need to know, which is called future value. How to compute the future value, how to compute the present value. Okay. I'll explain them as we move along, but all in all, these are the topics that you would need to be aware of. Okay. These four techniques, what they mean, we just explained them, and you need to know how to calculate the present value and future value. And you also need to know what it means by discounted cash flow. Let me quickly open a page. All right, so let's start with discounted cash flow. Let me just close this. Let's start with discounted cash flow. Discounted cash flow or opportunity cost. Okay, so I'll explain this with an example. Okay, discounted cash flow or opportunity cost. Okay, let me use the word opportunity cost because it makes sense. Okay, opportunity cost. Okay, let's say you have two choices. Okay, let's say you have, let's say, $100,000. Okay, and you have two choices. One, to invest this money in a bank, and two, invest in a project. Okay, pardon my handwriting, but just if you can follow, that's fine. Okay, this is project, this is bank. Now if you're investing in a bank, let's say bank is giving you 8% rate of return. Okay, I know this is high, but let's just assume this is 8% rate of return that you're getting on an annual basis for investing in a bank. Let's say if you are investing in a project, and after all those forecasting techniques that you apply, you're going to get, let's say, 12% as a rate of return per annum. Now, you have two choices. You can invest in a bank, you can invest in a project. Okay, any person who is good with maths would say, I'm going to go for 12%, rate of percent per annum. But there are some people who are very risk averse. Okay, they don't know whether the project is going to be successful or not. They may want to go with investing in a bank. Now, people who want to invest in a bank, what is the opportunity cost for them? People who are investing in a bank and getting 8%, the opportunity cost for them is going to be 12%. Because if they invest in a bank, they get 8%, but they're losing 12%. And people who invest in the project, what is the opportunity cost for them? The opportunity cost for them is going to be 8%. Because if they invest in a project, they're going to get 12%. Okay, but they're losing on 8%. Now, some people may think, how come it is 12%? If let's assume that a person is investing in a bank. Now, some people might get this thought, you know what? I'm getting 8% rate of return. I'm not losing 12%, but I'm just losing 4% because the difference is 12 minus 8, that's 4%. That should be the opportunity cost. Well, if you're thinking that way, I appreciate that, but that's not how the opportunity cost works. Okay, I'll give you a different example. Okay, I'm going to give you a different example just to prove that point. Okay, let's say you are in your 10 plus 2. Okay, now you have option to take engineering for your graduation, or you have an option to take medical. Okay, now if you choose medical, the opportunity cost for you is engineering background, because you're not going to get into engineering and you're losing on engineering skills. The opportunity cost is losing on engineering skills. But if you take engineering as a subject, then you're not going to get into medical field and you're going to lose skills on the medical side of things. Now, if I take this same example, let's say if I'm taking medical as a field, the opportunity cost doesn't mean that medical minus engineering, right? That doesn't make sense at all. So here it means if you choose this one, this is a mutually exclusive event. Okay, you're missing on this. So this is gonna be the opportunity cost. Now if you take engineering, this is gonna be the opportunity cost. The same concept applies here. Okay, if you're investing in a bank, you're losing 12%. So opportunity cost for investing in a bank is 12%. And the opportunity cost for investing in a project is going to be 8%. I hope the concept is clear so far. If not, rewind it and re-listen to that, okay? Because this is important. Once you understand what an opportunity cost is, the capital budgeting technique is going to be very easy, okay? Is just this particular concept where people get very confused. Okay, once you get to know what the opportunity cost or the discounted cash flow concept is, the capital budgeting is going to be very easy. Okay, I'm going to open a new page. Pardon my lack of knowledge on Whitebird. I'm just using it for the first time, you know. So now, okay, so now that we are clear with the opportunity cost or the discounted cash flow techniques, okay, I'm just writing discounted cash flow as DCF. Okay, DCF or opportunity cost, both mean the same. Okay, now we've learned about net present value, IRR, profitability index, payback period. I mean, we learned, in a sense, at least we learned what these terms means, right? This is for profit, this is for percentage, this is for for every dollar that we spend, and this is for the break-even point. Now there is another important point that you need to know, which is present value and future value. Okay, so these are the two important concepts that you need to know. All these will tie up at the end, but for now, listen to it. Okay, so why I'm telling you these concepts are important, because once you understand what they mean, then I'll show you how to tie these up together to get to the capital budgeting techniques and get to the calculations. Present value or future value. Let's say, okay, let me tell you. Okay, so let's say you have $100,000. Okay, now this is the present amount that you have. Let's say you are investing, okay, let's say in the bank, right, for 5 years, and bank is going to give you 8% rate of return per year, right? Now, what is the future value of this $100,000 is going to be, right? Now, for that, you just use a compounding interest technique, right? I'm just writing it as CI, compounding interest. So the formula that we learned in our school academics is the one that we're going to use, okay? Is just that amount, okay, which is nothing but $100,000 is equal to, I'm sorry, not the amount, okay? This is going to be the future value, okay? So amount, okay, what is the final amount? That's going to be the future value amount, right? So it's going to be P, right? Principal, which is nothing but your $100,000, right? Which is the present value of your amount, right? A is equal to P, okay, brackets open, 1 plus R divided by 100 whole power n, right? So R is nothing but your rate of interest. N is nothing but the number of years. Okay, if it is number of years, if it is number of months, right? So why I'm teaching you this compound interest technique formula here? Okay, let me write it clearly. A is equal to P 1 plus R by 100 to the power of n. A here is the final amount that we're going to get, okay, for after 5 years, right? I just said 5 years, right? This n is going to be 5. R is going to be 8%, right? 8 divided by 100. Okay, P is going to be the present value. Now, using this compound interest technique, you can compute what's your future value is going to be, right? Now, we will use the same formula to also compute the present value. Now, if you have to get to the present value, right? Now, this is present value, right? Principal amount is the present value. Now, if you need to compute present value, what you need to do? Okay, just to keep it clear. I know I'm messing up, but if you're following the video, you should be able to get it, okay? So I'm just writing it here, future value. I'm just explaining it, okay? Bear with me, please. I want to get you the concept first, very clear. Okay, so now future value is equal to present value, right? Now, if I need to keep the present value, I'm just going to send this entire part here, this part to this side. Now, if it is multiplying it here, it's going to divide it here. So it's going to be future value divided by 1 plus R by 100 whole power n, that is equal to present value. So if someone tells you, right, if the future value is, let's say, someone is not telling you what the present value of the amount is. Let's say they do some forecasting and they tell you, what, we're going to get like $200,000 in the future. We are going to, get that in somewhere around, like, let's say, 4 years. And the rate of, the opportunity cost is going to be somewhere around, like, 5%. Then you can compute the present value. So as long as you are able to understand how we have gotten to the present value formula, the rest of the pieces are going to be easy. Okay, there is a process that we need to follow that I'm going to explain it now, and it becomes easy. Okay, so just to keep a tab, so far we've learned about the 4 techniques. Okay, let the gist page to come up. So we learned, we learned in a sense, not exactly completely, but we learned what the terms means: net present value, IRR, profitability index, and payback period. Okay, we learned what these 4 terms are, and we also learned what is a discounted cash flow and what is the opportunity cost. And now we have learned how to compute the present value or the future value using the compound interest rate formula. Okay, now I can explain this concept here on the piece of paper, but since the intent of this video is to show you how to compute net present value and all these things in Excel, I'll explain that in Excel. Okay, I'll explain that in Excel. Just bear with me. Okay, so, and before we get started, right, let me just once again write the formula. N here means number of years. R here is rate of interest. See, rate of interest is nothing but, okay, why I'm writing this particular formula again is I think I have not explained what R means here. R here is rate of interest. You must be thinking where the rate of interest is coming from. We spoke about discounted cash flow, right? That has to be considered as rate of interest. Okay, so that has to be considered as rate of interest. Okay, so you can write the formula something like this. Okay, PV1 plus discounted cash flow interest by 100 to the power of number of years. Okay, now I'll explain you how to compute the numbers for net present value, IRR, profitability index, and payback period in Excel. Before we get started, you know what, we need to have a problem statement, right? So I'm going to get you a problem statement. Okay, so here it is. Let's take this example. Okay, a sum of $400,000 is being invested in an IT project, and the forecast has been done, okay, by forecasting engineers or forecasting analysts. Okay, that's a different concept. Okay, that's a different topic together. I can explain that how the forecasting techniques work. Okay, it's an interesting concept. If you need to know how the forecasting is being done, let me know. I'll make a video on it. Okay, so coming to the problem, a sum of $400,000 is being invested in an IT project, and the forecast of the cash inflows for the project is given as, in year 1 we're going to get $70,000, in the year 2 $120,000, in year 3 $140,000, and year 4 the same amount, $140,000, year 5 $40,000. Now in this problem it is asking us to calculate the net present value, and they're also given us the discounted cash flow. So listen, now when you are in your academics, right, usually people will tell you the discounted cash flow. They tell you, the opportunity cost of capital is some 5%, 4%, 8%, whatever it is. Or sometimes they use the word cost of capital. Don't get confused. It means they're talking about discounted cash flow. Okay. So they're asking us to compute net present value. Okay. I'll also add, we'll also compute internal rate of return for the same problem. We're also going to compute profitability index for the same problem, and we're also going to do payback period for the same problem. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Okay, now let me go back to this one. Okay, oh, not this one. Okay, the problem is we need to do this in Excel, correct? So where is Excel? Okay, now a sum of $400,000 is being invested in the project. What does it mean? It means that we are spending $400,000 right away, which is happening in the present time. So the present value for our investment is $400,000. Okay, let's write that down here. Okay, let's write that down. Okay, present value is $400,000. Okay, and the amounts are given. I'll just write it here, copy it here. Okay, so let me do a split. You go to data tab and then you do a text to column. Okay, I'll select delimited. Okay, for some reason it didn't copy, but that's okay. I'll just do it manually. Not required. Okay guys, so we have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. I'm just copying it here. Okay, now the sum says discounted cash flow is 8%. Okay, I'm just saying discounted cash flow is 8%. Okay, now we need to compute net present value. Okay, now there are 4 steps that you need to do, you need to learn for computing net present value. Step 1. Okay, you need to compute. Okay, before I tell you that, okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 are there, right? What do they mean? These are the amounts that we are getting in the future. Okay, these are the amounts that we are getting in the future. Okay, these are the amounts that we are getting in the future. So after year 1, we are getting 70,000. After year 2, these are 120, 140, 140, and 40. So let's write them as future value. Okay, future values. These are the future values. Okay, and this is n, which is nothing but the time. Okay, time in years. Now, in the step 1, what we need to do is we need to compute present value for year 1, and we need to compute present value for year 2, and year 3, year 4, and year 5 separately. Okay, you cannot just club all of these and then compute the present value. You have to compute present value individually. Okay, so that is what you need to do. In step 1, you need to compute present value for all the years. I'll just write separately. Okay, and step 2, sum all the present values. Okay, once you compute the present values, then you need to sum them up. Okay, let's call that as total present value. Okay, step 3, now once you have the total of all the present values, you need to remove the cash outflow. Okay, this is the cash outflow. Okay, this is the cash outflow. So you need to remove. Why is Excel acting up? Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, for some reason I think my system resources being consumed. Time to get a new laptop, I believe. So step 3 is nothing but you need to remove the total. You need to remove the cash outflow from the total present values. Okay, so we need to call this as cash inflows. Okay, so total present value minus cash outflow, and this is nothing but net present value. Okay, this is how you compute net present value. Okay, so let's compute the present values here. Okay, so we know the formula, right? We know the formula, correct? So I have written the formula here. Okay, just to make it easy, let's keep it here for some time. Okay, so just for some time, let's keep it here just so that we remember. See what we have here, future value. We've written all the future values. We need to compute present value, right? But we also need to know this, right? What is R here? Discounted rate. Okay, let's write R. Okay, Let's write R. What is R? 8%. 8, correct? Let's write 8. So it's common across, right? 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. And now we have R by 100, correct? So now let's do R by 100, okay? So that you get the percentage. Let me do is equal to, select 8 divided by 100. So what we're doing is we're just doing this. Okay, so we get 0.08. I'll just do that. Select this, come to the bottom right corner of the cell. You see this changing from that, doctor plus sign to, normal mathematical plus sign, right? White plus to, mathematical plus. Just observe that, okay? So you just click here and double click, and it'll then copy the formula from the top to all the cells below. Now that we have R by 100, now that we have, let's do 1 plus R by 100 completely. Let's do 1 plus R by 100. So we have R by 100, so let's just add 1 plus R by 100. This is what we're going to get. I'm going to drag the formula to the bottom. So 1 plus R by 100 is 1.08. Now we have the time n. We have just it here, right? Let's write the time here also, n. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, first year, second year. Okay, now let's compute the denominator first. Okay, I can just write it in one formula, but I don't want to confuse you. I just want to show you how you can compute it, how you can build your Excel files. Okay, but I'll show you in one go how you can write the formula. Okay, but for people who are not very well versed with Excel, I just want to show them how they can do it. Okay, so 1 plus R by 100, I'm just writing this 1 plus R divided by 100 to the power of n. Okay, so how you can do, we have 1 plus R by 100 right here. So I'm just going to select 1 plus R by 100 here. Now we need to do to the power of n, correct? So what I'm going to do, let me just use the brackets as we see there. Now you need to, for the powers, powers are nothing but exponentials. For that, you need to just use the caret sign, okay, which is on your keyboard. If you look at the number 6, okay, on the number 6, you see the little arrow pointing upwards. That's called caret, okay, that is used as an exponential. That is used to the power sign symbols, okay. For that, you just need to hold the shift key down and then press the number 6. You get that now, little caret sign here. Now, n, see, for this particular amount, okay, this is a future value happening in the year 1. So you need to select year 1 here, okay. But if you're selecting this amount, you need to select this, okay. So for $70,000, okay, we are getting it in the year 1, right? So I'm just selecting this year 1. So don't worry, I'm not yet selected 70,000. I'm just computing the denominator first, okay. Then we will do FV by this entire part. So the first thing that we're doing it here is, I'm just selecting L2, which is 1 plus R by 100. Okay, this is L2 cell. I'm just giving the exponential symbol here, and then I'm selecting the year. Okay, so you get 1.08 because 1.08 to the power of 1 is same number, okay, 1.08. Now if I double click and drag it, you see it has computed. Now where do you find the numbers? Okay, you can find it here, right? So you see this one, and you see this one, L3, which is this one, this cell, to the power of 2. So you can find, where can you find formulas in Excel? You can see it here, L3 to the power of M3. M3 is what? M3 is 2, which means 1.08 to the power of 2, and that gives us this number. Now we just select this, okay, bottom right, okay, and then double click it, it copies the formula from the top. So you're getting all the 1 plus R by 100 for all these different years here. Okay, If it is confusing, not to worry, just pay a little attention. Excel, people who are not used to it, for the first time, it might look confusing. Now we have computed these numbers for all these years. Okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 5, but we need to compute the present value. Okay, present value is what? Is equal to FV divided by 1 plus R divided by 100 to the power of N, right? I'm just writing the formula here in the cell. Now, we've computed this entire denominator, so we just need to divide the future value amount by this number, and that's going to give us the present value. So I'm just going to use is equal to sign just to select the future value, which is 70,000 for the year 1, divided by, we've already computed the denominator, and that's the reason I'm just selecting 1.08, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to give us the value. So in year 1, we are going to get $70,000, but what is the present value for $70,000? It is 64,814. So the number is less. Okay, the number is less because in the future it is $70,000, but at this point in time it is $64,000. Okay, so there comes a concept of time value of money. Okay, so you need to understand time value of money. Let me briefly touch upon that, but let me just drag the formula here. So if I just drag the formula, it will compute the present value for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So these are all the present values. Okay, now I was talking about time value of money, right? So I'll tell you one important concept. Okay, the value, the dollar that you have in your pocket or in your wallet or in your purse today is worth more than the same dollar that you would have in your purse or the wallet or your pocket tomorrow. Why is that? Why is that? See, you might be thinking it's the same dollar that you carry, but in reality, that dollar is losing value. The dollar is losing value because of two reasons. One is inflation, and the other reason is because of time. Okay, whatever the amount that you have today is worth more than the same amount you're having tomorrow. Okay, let's say you're earning $100,000 per annum in this particular year, right? Now, if you're going to earn $100,000 after 10 years, would it be a big amount or small amount? So that's a small amount compared to today, right? Because of the inflation, because of dollar losing amount, dollar losing value, right? That's the same concept. So $70,000 in future, if you compute it today at a inflation rate of 8% or a rate of interest of 8%, the amount is going to be less. That's the reason you have the less amount showing up as a present value. Okay, so that's the concept of time value of money. Okay, it's an interesting concept. The people who are very aware of time value of money would always make sure that they're not keeping the dollars in the pockets or in their wallets. Okay, they always ensure if they have some spare amount or spare money, they'll invest it. They invest it anywhere where it makes money. Dollar has to earn dollar. So investing is a good concept. I would suggest get into the habit of investing. Okay, that's how you become rich, not by just earning salary and spending. Okay, investors are the ones who become rich, not the people who earn and spend. Okay, that's enough of philosophy, but let's get back to net present value. Okay, so here now, if you see, we said step 1, compute present values for all these years separately. Okay, we computed present values. Okay, present values for all these years separately, done, right? So in the step 2, sum all the present values. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the function sum. So let me just do it by typing is equal to, let me write in sum, I'll open the brackets, I'll select all these years, because what we're saying, sum all the present values. Okay, so these are all the present values we have here. So I'm just selecting it, I'm just closing it. Okay, so and then I enter, we get $408,959. Okay, now how do you compute net present value? We said from the total present value. Okay, we're calling this as a total present value, right? Now you need to remove the cash outflow. What is the cash outflow? $400,000. Okay, I'll just type in 400,000 is equal to this minus this, and you get 8,959. Now, so the net present value for the given problem here is 8,959. Okay, so NPV is 8,959. So what does it say? Okay, you are spending as on today $400,000. Okay, and the project is giving you a profit of 8,959 as on today, which means the project is profitable. Okay, which means the project is profitable. What we have done in net present value is, if you look at it carefully, understand this. Okay, if you look at it carefully, we've taken all the future values. Okay, and we have computed the present value for all these years, and then we're summing it up. Okay, some people may think, why are we even doing this? Why can't we just sum these numbers up and then remove it from here? Okay, let's say if I'm summing these numbers up, right, it's going to be 510,000. I'm just doing this. So I might be getting $110,000, right? Some people might think this is the actual profit. No, this is not the actual profit. The reason is, this is the amount that you're spending on the present day, but these are the amounts that you're getting in the future. You cannot just subtract the future amount from the present amount. You need to do two things. Okay, either you take this to the future and then do the subtraction, or you bring to the present, you bring these numbers to the present and do the subtraction. So the word itself says net present value. We are bringing all these numbers to the present present day. Okay, we are computing present value for all these future values and then doing the subtraction, and that is what it is telling us whether it is profitable or loss. Now if someone says net future value, then you don't compute future values, present values for this. You just need to take this number, do a future value for this at this rate, and then you would subtract, and then you would get to know in future whether that project is going to be profitable or no. Okay, but then I doubt if anyone is using net future value. Okay, that's a good concept to ponder on, but all in all, it does make sense. It's one and the same. Okay, whether you bring the future values to present and then do the subtraction to see whether it is profitable today or not, or you take this number to the future and do the subtraction whether the project is going to be successful or not. Okay, so this is how you compute net present value. Now let's compute internal rate of return. Now if you remember, I've told you that internal rate of return is nothing but the percentage return. Okay, the percentage return, right? Percentage return. Now how do you calculate what is the percentage rate of return for this particular amount that we're getting? Okay, you must be thinking 8% is of internal rate of return. No, 8% is not. We are saying if I don't invest in this particular project, I'm losing 8%. Okay, since I have invested in this particular project, what is the rate of return I have got? If you're getting just 8%, that means it is no point in investing in the project. So it should be higher than this. Okay, it should be higher than this. You should be getting higher than 8%. Now, what is that amount that you should be getting? That amount is called internal rate of return. Now, there is a simple, trick to find out how to compute internal rate of return. So this number has to be higher, right? Now, when you increase this number, this net present value should become 0. Okay, this net present value should become 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the same number here. This contract cash flow is 8%. I'm just going to do IRR percentage return here only. Okay, I'm just going to write it. Now, as I mentioned, this the return that you're getting should be more than 8%, right? Now, if I make this like, let's say 9%, right? If I make this 9%, okay, sorry. What we need to do is, I'll show you a little trick. Okay, I typed in 8 here, right? I'll just use the formula here, 8. I'll just give reference to this particular cell. What I'm just doing it here is, instead of typing the number, right, 8, what I'm doing is I'm going to give you the reference here so that the calculations become easy. So I've selected is equal to D3. This cell is called D3. You can locate it here, D3, right? I'm just giving reference to this particular cell here. I'm just typing here and then I'm saying D3. Okay. I can do the same thing here, D3. Or I can lock the reference. Okay. I say D3. I'll put a dollar symbol. And why we use dollar symbols and all that, you can find out by just doing a bit of a Google. Because if I explain that here, right, the length of the video is going to be more. Okay. Let me format a bit more. Yeah. Let me just clean this up. So what I'm done here is, for R, I have given the reference to this particular cell. Okay. Now we are starting with 8 because it is what the discount rate is. But our internal rate of return should be greater than 8%, right? Otherwise, what's the point in, investing in the project? If you're getting the same return, it's no point. You could have invested, put that money in the bank itself, okay? Or some other project where you're getting 8%. Now, let's say if I use 9, if I hit enter, okay, so the difference is going to change because it is pointing to this particular point here, okay, and it's going to compute future present values for all these numbers using 9 as a rate of interest, and then it's going to give us, you see this red, actually, you see this red, right? So what does it mean? It should be actually less, because it's, I don't know why it's not showing the sign symbol. If I make it 7, you see it's black. If I make it 8, it's still black. If I make it 9, it's turning it red. It means it's showing the negative values. Okay. Let me just put a formula. Okay, so I just formatted it. Okay, I'll just remove those decimals because it's confusing. So you can see this, it's negative. So what we need to do is, we need to make sure we are getting the net present value as 0. Okay, and the rate at which the net present value becomes 0 is our internal rate of return. I repeat, the rate, this one, at which the net present value is going to be 0 is going to be the internal rate of return. At 9% rate of return, it's negative, but it's not 0, right? So let's try and reduce the number. Let's try and use 8.5. See, we got 3680, but it's still not, equal to 0. So I'm just going to increase the number a bit more, 8.8. It's still positive, greater than 0. So I'll make it 8.9. Turn negative. So it should be somewhere between 8.85. So we're getting close, right? 8.555. Okay, so it should be 8.554. Okay, so you get the concept, right? You just need to play with the numbers. You see, it has become 0. It's 39,999.90, which is close to 400,000. So these two numbers should become 400,000. Okay, this number is close to 400,000. So at 8.8545, your net present value is becoming 0. That means if you are investing in the project, you are going to get 8.8545% as a return. Okay, let me just select. Okay, sorry, not that one. Okay, 8.8545% is what you're going to get. Okay, so at this rate, 8.8545, Your net present value is becoming 0. So this is the actual rate of return that you're getting on a project. So the normal discounted cash flow rate is 8%. This one is higher than this. Because you're getting more than your discounted cash flow, this project is viable. Okay. But let's say if you're not investing, in this project, and some other project is giving you some 12% rate of return. Okay. Some 12% rate of return. Then this project is not viable because you're getting less than 12% here. Okay. So your internal rate of return should be greater than discounted cash flow if you have to choose a particular project. Okay. We've looked at net present value. This should be greater. Okay. So this should be greater. Okay. This should be greater. Okay. Now, so what are we getting? 8.8545. Okay. So internal rate of return should be greater than 8, whatever the discount cash flow percentage is. Here, 8.85 is greater than 8. Because of this, this project is acceptable, right? Now, let me change this to discounted cash flow itself and let me just make it 8 only. Okay. So we are back to the same thing. Okay. So we have net present value as 8949. We have your internal rate of return as 8.8545. Now we said we need to also calculate the profitability index. I was just writing this as PI, correct? So profitability index is nothing but for every dollar that you spent, how much are you getting back, right? So this is nothing but the ratio. Okay, this is nothing but your cash inflow divided by cash outflow. So what is the cash? Sorry about my spelling errors. So cash inflow divided by cash outflow. Cash inflow is your 408,959. So this is the total cash inflow happening as on today. Okay, as on today in the present, date. And the cash flow happening in the present day is $400,000. Just by looking at the net present value, you can accept the project. But sometimes people do ask, how many, what is the profitability index? Meaning they want to just know sometimes, leadership teams, they say, if I invest $1, how much I'm going to get back. For that, you just need to do the simple calculations. Cash inflow is what? 408,000 divided by cash outflow 400. So your profitability index is 1.02. So for every dollar that you're investing, you're getting 1.02 cents back. That means you're getting a profit of 0.02 cents for every dollar. So if you're investing $400,000, okay, then 400,000 into this amount, which is same as this one, right? So this is the profit, this is the profit. So you're going to get 1.02 as a profitability index. So profitability index is nothing but you divide your cash inflow by cash outflow and it gives you the number. If this number is greater than 1, then the project is acceptable. Okay. So what's the next step? Next thing is calculating payback period. As I mentioned, payback period is nothing but your break-even point. Okay, so let me quickly tell you what a payback period is. Okay, payback period is, let's say you invested $400,000, right? Now we also need to consider at what point in time are we going to get the $400,000 back. Okay, one thing that can come to your mind is, do we also need to compute present values and then get to know how at what point in time you're getting our $400,000 back? No, in general, sometimes when people do invest in projects, they also will look out for, let's say if I'm investing $100,000, when am I going to get back my money? At that point in time, they usually don't think about the present value computation. They just want to know in how many years I'm going to get my money back. Okay, so in this case, you are spending, or the project is spending $400,000. We just need to compute in what time are we going to get this $400,000 back. Okay, so if you take these numbers, these future value numbers, right? These future value numbers, let me copy this here. So in year one, okay, you invested how much? $400,000, right? I'm just typing the same number here. So in year one, you already recovered $70,000. So let's remove $70,000 from $400,000. We still need to recover $330,000. Okay. So in year two, how much are we getting back? $120,000. So let's remove that from $330,000. So that will give amount of $210,000. So after year two, we still have to recover $210,000. Okay, so let's go back to year three. Let me just remove $140,000 again. So in year one, after year one, the amount that we need to recover was $330,000. After year two, the amount that we need to recover was $210,000. In year three, the amount that we still need to recover was $70,000. Okay, but in year four, we are getting $140,000, right? But we just need to know at what point in time are we recovering our entire amount, right? Since they are not given the breakup of the months, so what we can do here is we can break this amount by month, or simple, we can break this amount by 6 months. If I break these amounts by 6 months, right, which is in a year we have 6 months, so I'm going to divide it by 2, that is $70,000. So after 6 months we would be getting our $70,000 back, right? So 70 minus 70, 0. So here it has taken us year 1, year 2, year 3, and this is for 6 months, 70,000. So in 3 years 6 months we are going to get our money back. Okay, so that's the break-even point for this particular project. I have taken time, I understand, because I have to walk you through all the steps, right? So I hope it made sense. It also gave you the clarity how to compute the net present value or internal rate of return or profitability index or payback period using Excel files. Okay, so I can just tidy these things up. Okay, I can just remove this, I can just remove this, I can just remove this. Okay, this is the table that you have. Okay, you can just cut it and then paste it here. You can then cut it and paste it here. Okay, these are some default values. Okay, or you can remove this as well, and this leaves us with all. I can just say description values. I can just select this, select this, select this. Okay, you want to keep this, you want to remove this, doesn't matter. But yeah, okay, so now this file looks neat and clean. Okay, you can just drag it here. So this is how you usually compute all these things. Some people may think, you know what, I am not given an Excel in an examination, how do I compute internal rate of return? The answer is simple, using pen and paper, but I bet that you won't get complex IRR calculations in an examination wherein you have to do a trial and error and compute the present values and then get to know the IRR number. They may ask you the concept, but I doubt whether you would be getting those complex calculations in the examination paper. Or maybe you would have objective, 4 options to select from. You can just pick those 4 numbers, compute it, and then you would get the answer. And guys, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do take time out and subscribe it, because you know what, I don't usually get many subscribers. I do make very few videos, but if you are in my subscriber list, I'll try and make more videos, if I get more subscribers. I don't make much money out of it, but if I can get more subscribers, if you can share this video with your friends, that's how I get more subscribers. And that's how usually YouTube promotes your videos more. If it is getting shared a lot, right, then YouTube thinks that this video has some worth. That's the reason it is being shared. And if you want to help me out, please do share it with your friends and your buddies, your colleagues, whosoever you can, if possible. Okay, it's not minded that you have to share, but that will definitely help me out. I'm just being as transparent as I can. Hope you liked it. Give me a thumbs up, leave your comments if there is any doubt anywhere. I'll just try and see if I can respond to you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for your time.